Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for another biblical prescription for life. I want to encourage everyone to share this with their friends and neighbors. Give it a like and comment because your comments help many other people. Today, we're going to tackle this question that's come in quite a few times recently. It's, I want to sleep better. Any suggestions? So we're going to tackle that today. But before we do that, I want to share a biblical prescription that's one of my favorites. It's Christ talking to me, talking to you. And in Matthew 11:28, Christ says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." I thought this was a very appropriate text because it talks about rest, and it gives one of the things that we can do to have rest. And part of rest is sleeping as well. And I don't watch the news a lot, but there's been a lot of stuff going on in the news about this Make America Healthy Again. People are asking about that. And one of the ways that we can make America healthy again is to sleep and rest better, get back to the basics, the design of our bodies, the way we are function. We're functioned to rest, we're functioned to move, we're functioned to put good things in our bodies. These are things we're designed to do. And when we don't do these things, we malfunction. Our genes cause problems. It gives us symptoms. We go to the doctor, and all too often, we don't get at the cause of the problem. So I'm hoping that this new movement, this Make America Healthy Again, that we're all going to be part of that because we want the health of everyone to be improved. The better health, the better decisions, the more we're able to see truth. So with that and the text in mind, I need your help very much before I get started on this topic. And I have a survey question that I need you to help me with. I'm going to be giving some lectures later this year, and this is a little bit biased because I know that the people that watch this are more interested in their health. But the survey question that I want you to answer is this: where do you obtain your information, your health information? Where do you get your health information to make the decisions about your health and your life? Okay, so with that said, number one is my provider. That would be your medical doctor, your nurse practitioner, the ones you go to. Number two, government agencies. Government agencies, that would include things like the FDA, the CDC, the World Health Organization, different government agencies. Number three, online independent sources. Is that where you go for your information? Number four, do you go to information from the Bible for your health care? Number five, do you go to your family? Or number six, do you actually go to the scientific literature and review it yourself? So where do you go for your health information? Number one, my provider. Two, government agencies. Three, independent health sources. Four, the Bible. Five, family. Six, scientific literature. If you could just weigh in on that, I think that would help me in some of the lectures and going out and talking to people this year about how we can improve health. Well, there's the question of is how I want to sleep better. This is very important. I'm going to try to move through this rather quickly. Not sleeping well can lead to lots of health problems. They call it a sleep disorder, and that can be difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up too early, waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to fall asleep, and it leads to daytime impairment. Lack of sleep is associated with many diseases. It disrupts our circadian rhythms. It affects our brain, our metabolism, our immune system. We know that people that don't rest or sleep well, they have increased cardiovascular risk, high blood pressure, arrhythmias, heart attacks. It affects our metabolism, diabetes, obesity. We don't think as well. People that don't rest have more accidents. They have more cognitive impairment. It affects our our immune system, our GI system. So basically, not getting enough rest is a big picture item. It affects the entire body. So usually, if you're not getting enough rest, there's some things that you can do. Can look at your rest. There's some things on the internet. The Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index is sometimes used worse, or the Epworth Sleepiness Score. But nowadays, people are just getting on their smart devices. They can get an app, and they can put a sleep app on their phone. And this actually tracks movements, waking up, the heart rate, and this will get a feel for how you're sleeping at night. This is a very important part of your health, because think about it. We spend, or should spend, about 1/3 of our life resting, so our body heals and gets better. We can improve our memory. So we want to do this well. Students need to sleep well so they can have the brain work and integrate all the information that we put in so we can figure out problems. When we're resting, the brain is still working to some degree, and we want to spend 1/3 of our life doing this as well as we can. So if you might fit into this category, wanting to do better, I have a list of things that we can go through. I'm going to move through them rather quickly. First, we want to know that it's not a medical cause. So you might want to see your doctor, get some blood work, a history physical to make sure you don't have sleep apnea. That's a medical condition where our oxygen goes down at night. We don't sleep well. Oxygen goes down, adrenaline and cortisol keeps us awake. This is damaging our body. The organs don't rest as well. Medical conditions like diabetes, a big prostate, which can get you up in the night a lot, can disrupt your circadian rhythms. When they're disrupted, all of these bad things we talked about begin to happen. If you have low oxygen in the body for whatever reason, lung disease, heart failure, if you have bad allergies, sometimes there can be medical interactions that can keep you awake, like stimulants, some of the medicines for ADDH, the pain medicines, alcohol can keep you up, antidepressants can keep you up, the decongestions. I saw a person not long ago that a seizure medicine was disrupting their sleep. Then once you get that off the table, and you think you're still having sleep problems, the next step would be look at the sleep hygiene. Do you plan your sleep? We plan our vacations, we plan the trips on the weekend, we plan our meals. Do we plan and make a lot of effort on how we're going to sleep? They call that sleep hygiene. And that would be things like a sleep schedule, relaxing before bedtime, going to sleep at the regular time. Exercise during the day can help us rest better. Make sure that some of the things we talked about are out of our lives. Alcohol, stimulants, too much caffeine, get that out of our life. Make our lives as stress-free as possible. And then simple things like having a good mattress. Make sure you're not taking naps during the day. Keep it dark where your sleep area is and very, very comfortable. Not a lot of stimuli, lights. Stay off the devices, which can stimulate our brain to do things and might be disrupting their circadian rhythms, especially a chemical that's made by the pineal gland called melatonin. So let's say you've gone through step 1, no medical problems. Step 2, you're working on the sleep hygiene. Now let's talk about different types of sleep aids. I do not think medicines are the way to help people sleep better, but there are a lot of things that we can do to turn down some of the chemicals in our body that disrupt our sleep patterns and also increase this chemical called melatonin that might be going down. So some people take melatonin about 30 to 60 minutes before their sleep times, and it comes in pills, usually 1 to 5 milligrams. That might be something that people can try. And I encourage you, as you work down this list, go through some of these, give it a try. Some sleep aids work for some people, some it doesn't work for. Another thing that I've seen that works if you're not pregnant, is take some valerian root. That's spelled Valerian. They can easily take some root and they put it and they boil it and they let it rest and they drink some tea in the night. They take, usually if you take a pill, it's 300 to 600 milligrams, and you want to drink the tea or the pill about 30 minutes before you go to bed. That's valerian root. Sometimes that has a relaxing effect on the body, helps people sleep better. Another tea that sometimes help people, and I wouldn't do all of these, but I'd try one and see if you stumble on something that works. Another one is chamomile tea. And they take that, and you can take the chamomile. It's another root. You can put it in hot water. Take some of that 10 to 15 minutes before you go to bed. Some people have had success with taking magnesium supplements, about 1,000 milligrams a day, adding that to their regimen. Another people are, they eat foods that have the substance called tryptophan, because tryptophan gets metabolized into some good substances that help the brain relax. Serotonin is one of them. So foods that have tryptophan in it. I have some people that take a handful of pumpkin seeds in the evening, nuts, sunflowers, legumes, oats. All of these things have tryptophan. Tryptophan in the body earlier in the evening might get metabolized to serotonin, which might help these circadian rhythms, increase some of the chemicals you need in your body to relax. I've seen some people report that they take glycine. That's an amino acid, 3 to 5 grams before bedtime. I've seen some people, we've talked about the other two teas, some people try some peppermint tea. Some people smell lavender or lemon balm. All of these things are different types of sleep aids that might help. And if you've worked through the medical problems, the sleep hygiene, you're still having problems, you might try one of those things on the list, one at a time, and see what works best for you. In talking to people, overall, the melatonin seems to work better for most people. And also the chamomile tea, I've heard some good things about that. Now, in studying about sleep disorders and people that don't sleep well, one of the leading causes is our brains. We have too much on our brains. We're too stimulated by cell phones, by going to the apps, by looking at things, by television, by all of these extra stimuli that comes into this. That's one thing that's out there that we need to work on. Another thing is we do something called ruminate. Have you heard that word before? Ruminate. Well, here's how it's spelled. Rumination. Not a thing that we always want to do, because if we keep playing these events over and over and over, guess what? Our brains, we make more adrenaline in our body, which cortisol goes up. We get more inflammation in the body, especially if we're ruminating over stressful things. So we want to turn off our brain. That's where some people learn how to do that with cognitive therapy. Psychologists do that. But what I've been trying to do when my brain is just going over things that I don't want to go over, I put in my brain things that I want to go over. That's when I open up the Bible, read biblical prescriptions, read the Psalms, pray more, go over to these texts where it says, like Matthew 11, come unto me, all ye that labor and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So come to God, ask him to handle this aspect of your life, which is not something to take lightly. This is up to 1/3 of our life. We want to do it well. So not only we want to keep this day-night law, these circadian rhythms, but God also gave us a time in the week. He says, work, take a day off, rest your body, rest your brains, rest your GI tract. And during that time, make it a special time where you're heavy laden, you've worked hard all week, come to me, worship me, be with you, and I have a gift for you. And that gift is going to be rest. So these are all things that I wanted to throw out there as we're trying to make America healthy again. Please go over that survey. Help me out with that, because I'm going to use that later in the year. Now, some people do take sleep aids, these pills. If you do have to do that, probably the safest one is Benadryl. I don't like some of the other ones out there, the Ambien, the Lunesta, some of those other ones, because they can sometimes affect our brains in the morning and they're not a long-term fix. So I think sleep is very important. Here's an outline of how you might be able to sleep better, and I hope that answers the question that came in today. But more than important, if you're having problems sleeping, come to me, come to Christ. All that your labor and are heavy laden, that have all this on our brains that might be disrupting our sleep, and He's promised He will give you rest. Learning to sleep better is a process. And I've noticed that looking back at history over the last 100 years or so, Edison and all the lights, all the stimuli, all the technology hasn't been good thing for our health. When our sleep and our health are disrupted, it leads to all of these problems that we talked about, chronic diseases, but we want to make our bodies, America, the world healthier again, so we might understand God, can think better, have better health, and this is just a great place to start. So help me out with that survey. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Remember that text, especially when you start playing things over in your mind. Go over to the Psalms, another good way to help you. Think about some of these sleep aids that we talked about. And I'm going to be back soon with yet another biblical prescription for life.